myself as chair, Pavel Payano, City Council at Large. Before we begin tonight's meeting, I will read the following. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, this meeting of the Public Safety Committee is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to view this meeting while in progress may do use any of the locations. We are on Facebook and we are also on YouTube. Counselors, if you please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic to which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, councilors, thank you for joining us today. We have our agenda. There are several tabled items on the agenda. Is there an item that you would like to take out of tabled matters?
Yes, Council, Mr. Chair, I would like to take the item from 2019, Lawrence Public School Public Safety, and it was item 356-19.
There has been a motion to take item 356-19 from tabled items. Is there a second?
Second.
That motion has been second. We will now call for a vote. Councilor Levine?
Yes.
Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes.
And the chair votes in affirmative. So we are now in item 315-19. Councilors, if you wait a moment so I can just bring up the item. So I think it's important to note that this item was brought up in 2019, towards the end of 2019, and during that time we were having discussions on trying to understand better sort of the public safety issues that were going on within the school system. There were several attempts to send correspondences to the superintendent's office to get the superintendent to join us at a public safety committee meeting so we could discuss this. It was towards the end of 2019, 2020 hit, as everybody knows. We got hit with COVID, and during 2020 and most of 2021, this item was essentially put on hold. We are in a new school year. The students are going into the schools, and I think that the issue of public safety within our schools is still an issue that is of importance. That being said, we had, just like in our previous meetings, our last two previous meetings that we had, both end of 2019 and in February of 2020, we attempted to send communications to Lawrence Public Schools to obtain an individual to come, to obtain the superintendent to come and join us in a conversation to understand sort of the overall, what is the public safety plan, and be able to have a conversation, ask questions as to what's going on regarding public safety within our schools. We did receive several communications from the superintendent that I believe the counselors have read. Superintendent will not be joining us tonight. Before we get to the motion, I know that there are several people, several residents that are with us today that would like to speak on this issue. I'd like to take sort of chair's prerogative and allow those individuals to speak. Let's do this. So if you are interested in speaking, please on the chat, write your name, and I will make sure to call on you. And when I call on you, we will take you off of mute. Okay, so we have Sondra Longo.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on behalf.
Can you say your name and address just for the record, please?
Yep. Sandra Longo. I teach at Lawrence High School, 71 North Parish Road. Also a member of the school committee. The school committee. That's funny. The union. Sorry, long day. Thank you very much for hearing from me. I just wanted to give a little personal perspective about what's been going on. And I think it was so telling that you said this was a problem back in 2019. And here we are again, readdressing this issue. The only thing I just wanted to say from my perspective, and I've been in the schools for nearly 20 years, is that we are reaching a point where the school is very crowded. We are now about 600 kids, I believe, over what the school was built for. Again, sort of same old story, unfortunately. And we just do not have enough support. The kids do not have enough teachers. We have made some strides this year. It is, I will tell you, just being on the front lines, 100% not enough. I feel like when it's reported and we talk about it, people say, well, it's not that much of an issue sometimes. And the one thing I just want to say as an educator is I need to make sure that every child feels safe. Every child in our schools comes to school, feels like they can access their education, is not nervous about who they're going to run into, who they're going to be in class with, who they're going to see in the bathroom, that we're really listening to the kids and we're really talking to them. A model that's wonderful in the elementary and middle schools is having paraprofessionals or having co-teaching. We don't have enough of it at the high school. And I think you're aware we had a tremendous hiring challenge this year, real staffing shortage at the high school. And there's other teachers on here that I know would be happy to speak to this. We have teachers at the high school teaching straight through the day, just with their lunchtime. And they are the energy it takes, as we know, coming out of this crazy year, to give the kids all the attention they need and all that support. Make sure every child feels seen, feels supported, knows that they're a part of this community and this culture is very, very difficult right now. So I will say that I can report a downturn in culture in general. And I think it comes down to, we need to demand that our children get all the support that they require and deserve. And whatever it takes to hire the best to be here with them and to do what we can do for our part in the schools, then I implore you to consider that and think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Heather Levine.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Heather Levine. I teach at Lawrence High School as well, 71 North Parish Road. I'm at the lower school academy. And so to reiterate a little bit of what Sandra said and then kind of add, the staffing shortages are hugely problematic right now. And I think when we talk about safety, just to give some perspective, we are so short on staff that, the people who would normally be helping to keep students safe in a restorative way, like our administration and our culture specialists, they are subbing. I think it was the 10th grade principal was literally a math teacher for like 2 weeks. This is really all hands on deck. And, even at least at lower school, like our administration is trying so hard to really fill those gaps. And we are just not able to attract and retain enough staff right now for a variety of reasons. But the biggest issue is just that there are empty classrooms. We've had to dissolve some classes into and make other ones bigger. So then you can imagine that leads to other safety issues. So it's a ripple effect. And then when we bring new people in, everybody's stretched so thin that those people are not receiving the proper mentorship and support that they need, which is then leading to some of them leaving because they're walking into chaos and not receiving support. So it's just, we have, I think, a lot of really wonderful restorative practice ideas and plans and programs at the high school. And the majority of them are not being able to be implemented right now because unfortunately the people who would be implementing them are forced to become subs. That's essentially what it is. Teachers we're subbing during our preps. Again, if part of keeping students safe is making sure that they feel like they're getting really excellent lessons and that they're learning these wonderful culturally relevant things, we're not being given any time to plan those things because we're having to cover other classes. It's just what we're seeing is just all of these ripples. And I think a lot of it comes back to not enough people. Piggybacking off of that just quickly, also, as we start talking about, or as we continue talking about safety here, making sure that, as educators, one of the biggest things for us is not reinforcing the school to prison pipeline and disrupting that. If we're trying to make sure we're not leaning just into reactive policing solutions, then the answer is restorative programs and things like that. And so we need the personnel to be able to actually implement those. So I would just urge this council to really take a close look at what's going on with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to the Public Safety Committee? If so, please put your name in the chat and I will call on you and ask you to unmute. Okay, since nobody else, councils, before I definitely have comments that I would like to, we have somebody else that would like to make a comment. Julissa Nunez. Julissa Nunez, if you can please unmute and state your name for the record. Name and address, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Julissa Nunez. I live at 312 Water Street. And as a parent and as a community member, I'm very concerned about what's happening in our school. I don't have a child in high school yet, but she will be going soon. So I hope that things change. I know right now that teachers have a lot in their hands. They short of staff, not just that, but my daughter goes to the Gilmet school, and right now we have our teachers also being cross guards, which is not right and it's not fair when they already short of staff, and now we don't have the cross guards, and that's putting our kids' safety in danger, because when I take my daughter to school in the morning and in the afternoon, I feel bad to see these teachers being cross guards. And they're also trying to keep the kids safe and everything. I went to pick up my daughter the other day to school, and they had these kids that were a little older than my daughter. My daughter is 9. They had this kid with a cell phone putting all the kids to kiss one another, boys and girls kissing in the backyard of the school. Unfortunately, we don't have enough teachers to keep an eye on those things because now our teachers have to serve as cross guard. When I was coming today from picking up my child, I had a parent telling me I need to take my daughter out of the high school. She's only started a month ago there and she doesn't want to be there. What can I do? what are we going to do? I need to move out of Lawrence to put my daughter in another school. I had to choose that with my oldest daughter. I had to send her to Lower and make a sacrifice to have her live in Lower for 4 years because I didn't want my daughter to go to high school here in Lawrence. And I don't want to go through the same thing with my other child. When she grows up, do I have to send her to live with somebody else because the schools here are not safe and everything? So I just hope things change for the best. We want this city to move forward and not continue moving backwards or continue the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Jalissa. Kim Ridley, if you can please say your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Kim Ridley, and I am the PA2 teacher in grades, a blended grade 9 and 10 at the high school at 71 North Parish. I was asked to speak tonight just because what I said during a meeting apparently hit a lot of people, a lot of teachers agreed with me. And it's very brief, but my comment was that I am a special ed teacher, and I, of course, service some of the most vulnerable students in the high school. And because of that, I try to, keep them as safe as possible, of course. And one of the things that I feel that I need to do is to lock my door, not to keep the children in, of course, but to keep other children from accidentally or even purposely coming into my room, to hide from not being in the classes that they're supposed to be in. So every day I see kids running in the halls. I see administration trying very hard to keep children in their classes. But it's really at a point where I am, as a teacher, they're in the stairwell, and they, go to the.
Ms. Ridley, we are losing you. I think that we're getting low connection.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. Okay, if there is no one else, counselors, but before we begin, I think it's important to note that we've been dealing with this item, as I mentioned before, for a while. Back in November, this item was brought up, and we weren't able to get anyone from Lawrence Public Schools. Again, in our November of 2019, at our January meeting of 2020, in our regular agenda, we again brought this item up, and we weren't able to get anyone else. We weren't able to get anybody from Lawrence Public Schools to come, even though we had sent correspondence back in November and early January, letting them know that this meeting was going to take place. At our February meeting, correspondence was also sent, February of 2020. And we proceeded with our meeting, and we weren't able to get anyone from Lawrence Public Schools to come in and speak. I mean, primarily, I think what counselors were asking for at all three of those meetings they were specifically looking for the superintendent to join us in these conversations. That being said, I think, it's important for us to talk about what is the role of counselors and why, why are we looking into this? And, what is our role as counselors and as members of this committee? So I think that as counselors, one of the things that we're trustees of, not just the city buildings, but we're also trying to ensure that there's transparency and ensure that our city government is being held accountable to the people and residents and families that they are serving. And within that city government, our public schools are a part of that. Our public schools play a very big role. They're a very huge part of our budget. And we have, not just a fiduciary responsibility, but we have a moral responsibility of ensuring that we are, paying attention to what is going on, and that we are attentive to the needs of the parents, the youth, and all the other residents of this city. I think it's our youth are the future leaders of our of our city, of our community. So it is important that we ensure that where they go to school is that they feel safe, and that it's an environment that they can learn. That being said, I do have several comments that I'd like to hold until the end, and allow other council members to speak. But I think that we are currently at a crossroads as to where to move from this. And I think that we need to sort of have a conversation about what is our next step, what the committee would like to do. I would like to, at the end of the day, I'm one individual, and one individuals in this committee. And I think that for any item, it is important that we reach consensus and we move forward as a team. So that being said, are there any counselors that wish to speak on this? Councilor Rodriguez. Councilor Rodriguez, you're on mute.
Yes, there is somebody else on the chat that would like to speak. I believe Suzanne.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Suzanne Suliveras, if you can please unmute and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, everyone. I'm Suzanne Soliveris. I am the president of the Lawrence Federation of Paraprofessionals. I work at SES at the old high school on Havel Street in Lawrence. I don't want to repeat everything mostly everybody has said, but I do want to speak for the paras. The safety issue has been a huge concern since the beginning of the school year. The paras have to substitute for many teachers, as many of the teachers have just said. We are now being bus monitors for the district to be able to go pick up students who have not been able to come to school since the beginning of the school year. So we're already into our 5th week of school. And I can just say, we've had one student who has not been in school all this time because of the bus issue. So we've become bus monitors, and we've had to travel to other cities because we do have students who are homeless in shelters other than in Lawrence. Same thing for foster care. We've had to go and pick those students up, which they are finally coming back to school. So they haven't been into school for 5 months, considering even last year, most of them weren't even in school. I just want to reiterate the classrooms. I know the classrooms are overloaded in many of the schools in the district. My own, not so much. I have been in some of the schools this year and seen paras being bumped into several classrooms throughout the day, covering for many teachers because they don't have staffing for gym enrichment classes. So they are being pulled out and not being able to have their own classroom and having consistency with the students. So our students are seeing different paras, different teachers all day long. And I just feel that it's not good for them. Sometimes it's a scary situation because our whole motto this year is social and emotional learning. And we're not even able to do that with our own students right now because we don't see them half the day because we're being pulled in so many different directions. So I'd just like to see the district, and I'd like to see the council try to make at least some effort to help the teachers, the paras, the clerks, everybody who works in the system right now, to give us help because we need help right now. The high school needs help. I hear a lot of the paras from the high school contacting me about the safety issues over there, afraid to go into work. So if they're afraid to go into work, the students are afraid to go into school. I don't want to take up your time, but I did want to let you know how our paras are feeling, is along with the teachers, the clerks, and the custodians, and everybody else. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suzanne. And thank everybody that took the time to come to this meeting and to give insights into what's going on with the public schools. I think all of us, all city councilors, we value all of the employees within the city, and especially those that spend day in, day out are working with our youth, whether you're a teacher, paraprofessional, janitor, administrator. I think that all of you guys are heroes to us, and we appreciate all the work that you do. That being said, within this particular motion, I think it's important, councilors, that as we talk through this, that it's, we're not here for a particular incident. I think that, there were some questions. Is this related to a specific incident that went on within the school? And that's not, the case. The reason this was brought forth in 2019 was because there were concerns throughout, not just at Lawrence High School, but at our middle schools and elementary schools. And we wanted to understand a little bit more about the plan. I think now the concerns are not just about what is the plan around public safety, but also that there are, essential, there are a lot of issues, weaknesses within our structure that might not create a safe environment. Conversations that I've had with parents and with teachers and administrators have brought me, have brought certain things to light, such as the fact that in certain schools there aren't enough teachers and paraprofessionals, that there are teachers that are spending a huge chunk of their day subbing for others. I think for the last few months, we have heard conversations from a lot of residents. Even yesterday, I was walking on Essex and somebody came up to me, a resident of the city, and the question that they had was, what is going on with the crossing guards? So I think, the questions that residents of our city are having are large. It's not just on a particular incident, is overall, there is a want to understand what is going on with the public safety within the schools. Where are we now? Where are we moving from here? So counselors, I think that it'd be important to hear from you. And, I'm interested in understanding where you would like us to move forward with this particular item. Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity to speak on behalf of this so important item that we have in front of us, which is the public school safety issue that we have, that we're facing currently, and that we're facing then in 2009 when we start discussing this. And it is extremely frustrating to me and other council members that we are trying to have a conversation. We are trying to do what the people are asking us to do, which is talk about the issues. And we've been having so much difficult time to actually discuss the situation with actual data, because we don't want to just talk because we want to talk. We want to have data as of what is happening, as of what we can do, as of what partnership we should create, what leadership we should take with the community, what type of parents involvement perhaps we should advance, and be able to just talk about the issues. The superintendent was invited in 2019, 2020, 2021. She haven't responded in a way that we would like her to respond. She sent us an email. And these type of issues is not about sending an email. And an email that, if you read it, is mostly I'm gonna reserve that word. It's mostly something that is not quite important to the conversation at this point. It is extremely frustrated to see this type of situation. And I know that they are listening right now at this meeting, but why they're not here? Why not? And this is a problem that is a conceptual problem. It's a problem that is a concept that is not going to be solved because we have for a while, because we have a receivership law that is not giving us the opportunity to be autonomous at the school level, and the proper partnership is not being creative for us to be able to actually have more say on the issue. This is not about blaming anybody, but there is people that are more responsible than others. And unfortunately, the city of Lawrence the school system at the city of Lawrence is controlled by the state. But we haven't had that response at the state level for us, the community members, the people that stay here after 3:30, stay here after 5, that doesn't take the highway to go home, to discuss the main issue, because we understand the community. We serve for no money. This is not a salary. This is not a job, what we're doing here. We're serving the people because we care about the community. Not having a conversation with us because sending an email is enough, because I'm protected by law, because I don't have to, because the law says that every 3 months I should send a report of 1 page, 1 sheet, and that's enough. I don't see that as a point to start to have a conversation or to find a solution for this type of issue. This is a safety issue that is not about social media, that is not about what happened lately, that is not just about only the crossing guards, perhaps, or a fight going on outside of one of our schools. We have 24 schools that we actually, some of them renovating. The city of Lawrence is taking loans or taking getting into debt to build new schools, and having those type of leadership behind our school after we getting people's taxes increase. It is a conversation that we should have. Not that long ago, we actually decided to go ahead and get a loan for $132 million to rebuild one of the school. And now the people are going to be facing a question on November 2nd to renovate another school for $102 million, which we're going to be responsible for about $40 million, or a little bit over 40 million. So we need to be responsible about this type of things. We need to be responsible about, yes, we want the best for our kids, but right now the system that we're developing, we're not having a conversation with us, is not the system that is going to have those kids to be successful in the future. Most likely, if we don't do nothing, we're creating a path to prison. That's what we're doing. Because we want those kids to be successful, we need to, the adult need to talk. If we have an issue, we got to talk. And not just pretend that everything is going to be okay because we get a new dog. No, it's not. It is not. It's not going to be okay because we're developing better relationship with the police department. The police department, let me tell you, 162 police officers. It's not enough for 100,000 people. Imagine for 13,000 kids that are at the school level. No, I think that we gotta be grown-ups. I think that we gotta talk. We have to discuss this issue of the safety issue, selling drugs. I have information that there are people selling drugs all the time at the high school, and we're not doing much about it. We're just ignoring. But guess what? We are very irresponsible if we don't talk about it. It's not about telling you what to do. It's not about that. We care about the kids, and the kids deserve better. And that's basically the information and the main message that we need to have. We care about you. We want you to be successful. And what we're doing, we're investing in your education for you to be a good kid in the future and the future of the city of Lawrence. But this is not what we're doing. If we keep on just being silent, we are part of the problem. If we discuss the problem, and then we're part of the solution, simple as that. I am ready to ask the public safety committee of the city council of the city of Lawrence to have another meeting for next week. Invite not a representative from the school department. No. I would like to invite the superintendents and also a representation of the LEE board for next week. If that doesn't happen, and then we should take a further up step and probably do something else. I think that we should definitely not stay quiet and be responsible. And if we really care about the kids, let's talk. Let's discuss the issue. Let's see how we can create better partnerships with the member of the public, with the parents involvement, community engagement. But the first thing we need to do when we talk about community engagement is define the wall of community engagement. Define it, not in the way that we want to see it. And see how deep that could go. This is not about a job from 7 to 3:30 or from 7 to 4 to 5 or whatever. Community engagement is about being there present. People can see you and trust you. And we can definitely do that by all means because we care about our kids. But we need to take a step further and say, look, this is what we need to do to be able to solve this problem. This is not about having extra police department, police presence, or a little more during the time that we have some type of fight. It's not about that. It's creating that critical thinking on the kids and make sure that they know that this is not the right path. And that's not the right thing to do if they're doing something wrong. But we're not going to do that if we don't discuss the situation. So I believe that we should definitely have another meeting next week. Invite different people, like I mentioned before. Welcome them to the discussion and be able to create partnerships. But by sending emails, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. I mean, sending the cell phone numbers, we tried that one before, never get picked up. What are you going to do? Call again? I think that this is an unfortunate situation that we are dealing with, but I think that we can find a solution for it if we all work together towards the benefit of the kids. With that said, Councilor, Mr. Chair, I yield the floor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez. Before we entertain a motion for a new meeting, I just want to make sure that I give our other colleagues the opportunity to speak Councilor Levy or Councilor Reyes. I don't know if there's
Yes,
an
Mr.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chair.
let's, Councilor Levy had her hands raised first, and then so after Councilor Levy, we'll have Councilor Reyes. Go ahead, Councilor Levy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that my college, Councilor Rodriguez, already showed this frustration that we are feeling at this moment with all the questions that we have and no answer, principal from our superintendent. Our children are first, no doubt. And I do not have a children at school at this moment, but I passed by all of these things, long time ago, but I have my grandchildren. It is very sad to see that how parents at this moment are very worried with everything that is happening, with all this problem at school, and nobody wants to face or show their face to respond to those parents. It's very sad. And we, as a council, you can see the frustration that we are feeling because how we have been inviting the superintendent 2 times or 3 times, and she never want to come out and speak to all of you. I agree with what Councilor Rodriguez say for having another meeting next week and invite again all the authority that, that need to see regarding our children. Our children are first, and we need to care for the safety of our children. We need more parents involved when we call for a meeting also to come by and ask the question. And we need an answer. And we need to look for the answer, regarding to all this problem right now. We spend a lot of money in our children. And we need to know why those situations that are happening right now are happening. So I encourage the parents for the next meeting to come together with us and ask questions. And we're gonna see how we together can try and make this city or our school more safety, but we need answer. We need answer, and we need to work together to get those answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Levy. Councilor Reyes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you everyone for joining with us tonight and speak what is the issue, because we are very committed to moving forward, to open the conversation, to find a solution. I'm so happy you being here tonight because we want to move forward. What my colleague mentioned before, we need to invite it, we need to set up another meeting, and also we need to include the different person is in charge to find a solution. Because last weekend I received a lot of phone calls, a lot of people very excited to bring different ideas to find a solution. Also, I'm being in contact for a couple retirement teachers, and they have a lot of ideas, but we need to have the superintendent to share the different ideas of what people have in our community. Thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the opportunity. Mr. Chair, you muted.
Thank you, Councilor Reyes. So, Council, thank you for voicing your opinions on this. I think it's important. My role as chair, I think that one of my roles is try to be a moderator of discussions, and I try my best that when I have that hat on as chair, that I'm not speaking for myself, that I'm speaking for the entire committee. And I'd like to echo the frustrations that all of you are mentioning. And I think that at the root of this frustration, as Councilor Rodriguez mentioned, at the root of all this is that our system is under receivership. And unfortunately, because of that, there is a strain in the relationship between city government and the Lawrence Public Schools. And I say strain in quotations because when there are grants and there are, money to be decided, we see, full representation from Lawrence Public Schools there. We just had, a very, very serious vote, which was to putting a question for the Leahy School to rebuild the Leahy School and put a question on the ballot that essentially would see an increase in taxes from taxpayers. What was mentioned throughout that conversation is the importance of all of us working together, and that we wouldn't be able to, that this might not pass if all of us don't work together. But just like as we're working together for that, right, we need to work together for other issues as well. And one of them is ensuring that parents, family members, students, basically all the residents in Lawrence and staff understand what is the plan, what is going on within our school system. That being said, I think that I appreciate that, counselors are willing to have another meeting, but that will be our 5th meeting. And granted, the first 3 meetings took place pre-COVID, and this is our first meeting after COVID. But I think it's important to keep that in mind, that this will be our 5th meeting of us talking about this same issue. And I think if there's a question on anybody's mind about whether, what right counselors have in asking these questions, what I would say to those individuals that are struggling to understand, why city councilors would be involved and, what right do they have to do that, I will remind them that, every city councilor within this committee, within the full council, was voted for this position, and they have a certain responsibility that they have to the residents that voted for them. And I hold that responsibility to heart, and I hold the responsibility that the residents of Lawrence have given me to ensure that our youth are getting not an adequate education, but they're getting a good, excellent education. I thank council members in the past for essentially supporting our schools when they have been close votes. For example, that vote within for the rebuilding of the Oliver School was not a vote that passed unanimously. It passed by 1 vote. So these are issues that are important, and it's important to ensure that the communication between the counselors, between City of Lawrence and the public schools is strong, and that we're essentially one of the different vehicles to get the information out to the public. Now, I think that there might be I did hear some counselors say that there might not be an interest from LPS to show face to the public. So I will say that that's wrong. And in the emails that we received, we have been, essentially told that we will, that if we wanted to hold private meetings, that is something that would be doable, and that we should invite residents to take part in town hall sessions that the superintendent is having. So what I would say, to that, I think it is important for the sake of transparency for these conversations to be had here. So I will, 100%, agree with counselors that we need to have a conversation here. I will say that if there are parents and residents that would like to go to a town hall meeting and take part in that, that's great. The more spaces that there are to talk about this issue, the better. But we as counselors in this committee have a role to play. And from what I'm hearing from you counselors is that you want to make sure that that we play that role. So I would like to, entertain a motion to set 2 days for next week, to set a meeting for 6 p.m. on Tuesday, to give an opportunity for and to send correspondence to the superintendent and to the interim chair of the LAE board to attend on Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Councilor Levy.
there is a subcommittee meeting on Tuesday.
So there is a subcommittee on Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Okay,
But we would be having this meeting at 6 p.m.
okay. So motion to have a meeting on Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Is there a second?
So move. Second.
It was seconded by Councilor Reyes. We will now call for a vote. Vice Chair Rodriguez. Councilor Rodriguez, you are on mute.
I'll say yes. Then just to make sure that there's going to be 2 meetings, one on Tuesday at 6 and one on Thursday at 7, right?
So Councilor Levy, if you will take a friendly amendment to have put on the agenda, so there'll be a public notice that there'll be a meeting on next Tuesday, 6 p.m. And also Thursday at 7 p.m. of next week.
I accept the amendment.
So that is the motion. So it's a motion for there to be a public safety committee meeting at 6 p.m. on Tuesday and another one on 7 p.m. on Thursday, and for correspondence to be sent to the superintendent and the chair of the LAE board, the interim chair of the LAE board, requesting their attendance. So Councilor Rodriguez, you said yes. Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
And the chair votes in affirmative. Councilors, is there anything else you would like to do with this motion?
With the meeting?
With this motion?
Motion to table.
With the item. Okay, motion to table.
The item.
Second.
There's been a motion to table by Councilor Levy. It was seconded by Councilor Rodriguez. Councilor Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Thank you. So the motion has been tabled. Councilors, is there any other item that you would like to take out of tabled matters? Hearing not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Before adjourn, I would like, Mr. Chair, through you,
Yeah,
is
go ahead,
also
Councilor Levy.
to,
Go ahead, Councilor Levy.
what I would like is like to invite all the parents also to join us to those meetings. And
So,
every people that is concerned or, that would like to hear what is going to happen. So just to join us on Tuesday and Thursday or the next week.
thank you, Councilor Levy. Councilor Rodriguez, what was your motion?
Motion to adjourn.
There's been a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second by Councilor Reyes. Councilor Levy,
yes.
Councilor Reyes,
Yes.
and Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
And the chair votes in affirmative. Thank you all for attending. We will see you on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.